You are now listening to Talk Your Jits podcast.
Hello and welcome to Talk Your Jits podcast. This podcast is, as the name implies, all about Jiu Jitsu. I'm your host, Lamar Smith, and today's guest is a purple belt who trains at Fluid Jiu Jitsu located in Greenfield, Wisconsin, and Primal MKE located in West Ellis, Wisconsin. Ladies and gentlemen, Nicolas Bontempo.
How's it going, everybody?
How's it going, sir?
Man, it's going pretty well, man. Been busy. So it's nice to kind of take about an hour or so to relax and talk about a sport that we both love very, very much.
Very, very much. Very, very much. Well, let's get the ball rolling, man. If you want to formally introduce yourself again, by all means, and let's hear your story.
All right, sounds good. My name is Nicolas Bontempo. I train out of Fluid Jiu Jitsu out at Greenfield, Wisconsin, and I'm also representing Primal MKE out of West Allis, Wisconsin. I just made my pro debut in Jiu Jitsu. I believe it was June 28th, if I remember correctly. Fought for a world title on that card, and unfortunately came up short by literally 1 point, but but it was a great experience, and man, ever since I made my pro debut, it's been life has gotten pretty interesting and pretty busy. So all good things, but definitely a change in life, which I absolutely love. But yeah, man, it's I've been training almost. Oh, actually, not almost. I gotta stop saying almost. 9 years now. So December is my 9-year anniversary. I just got my purple belt on November 28th.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you. It's I was a 4.5 year blue belt. Man, and blue belt blues, man, it's a real thing. It's a very real thing. Not a lot of people believe it, but it's a real thing. I hit my blue belt blues, I think, last year. I was in a competition. I had 13 matches.
Oh wow.
13 or so matches. And one of my matches, I unfortunately got choked out for 24 seconds while the ref was just kind of standing there. And, it happens. It's all part of the game. And I just kind of hit my blue belt blues, and I was just like, man, like, how could this happen? And I was really, it was down. It sucked. But nonetheless, I bounced back, and like any person in this game can and will, and it's so now I'm at where I'm at right now. So but yeah, purple belt at 21 years of age, man. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're pretty young, so you still got a lot of jiu-jitsu ahead of you.
Oh yeah. 9 years in, 21 years at 21 year of age of blue purple belt. Man, you can still see I'm still using the same blue belt. So
oh, trust me, I know. it just really set in for me myself to be calling myself a brown belt.
Oh yeah.
Like I still go in thinking straight purple. Straight really? Purple belt, like 2 stripe purple belt. I'm always in that mindset, and then I tie that belt. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Not that anymore.
Well, it's funny because I was just telling my dad earlier today. I'm looking at my blue belts tied up right now, and it's a crazy just kind of look. It's like, man, I'm not wearing those anymore. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like even to this day, like I have to get some more boxes, but I have my white belt in a shadow box with my certificate and my test, whatever. And I have to get some more because I have my blue and purple, and I just look over at my this on my wall. I have them hanging up behind my door, and it's just like, damn. Where did time go? Like wow, I'm like my blue and purple belt are hanging on the door. Like I used to wear those every Tuesday and Thursday, and now they're just hanging there. It's weird. It's so weird to
me. I hear you, man. And at the end of the day, it's a fantastic feeling too. It's kind of bittersweet, at least on my end, because it's, man, I was at blue belt for 4 years. Like I kind of got used to that blue belt feeling, and now purple belt, and then you enter a whole new division and a whole new neck of competition, and it's cool, man. It's very cool I love testing myself, and I love testing myself against legends of this game, competitors of this game, and see where I'm at. Sometimes you win sometimes you lose some, but that's part of the game. So
yeah, that's definitely part of the game, and that's the best part of the game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, it's funny because I look at it, I look at these your belt rankings as relationships.
Yep.
And the longer you're with them, the longer it seems like, man, I can't go without this. And then it's like, like you said, you see your blue belt hanging up. It's like, dang, just yesterday, you were with me. You were listening to all my problems, but now you're just in the corner. I got a new flame now. She understands me better.
Oh, dude, I love it. It's funny you bring that up. I've been lately, that's kind of how I've been describing jiu-jitsu and the promotions and the stripes and all that. I've been explaining it as jiu-jitsu has to understand you, and you have to understand jiu-jitsu.
Oh, of course.
If you don't understand what jiu-jitsu is trying to teach you, right? Jiu-jitsu is full of lessons, and it's not necessarily it's not going to show you exactly what you need. It's going to show you in different ways of what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't understand what jiu-jitsu is trying to teach you, you're going to stay at, whatever plateau you're at, or whatever belt rank you're at, or what stripe. You're going to stay there until jiu-jitsu is like, all right, you learned what I was trying to teach you. And, so jiu-jitsu has to understand you, and you have to understand jiu-jitsu. It's this relationship.
Yeah.
And every stripe is that moment where you're going to be like, oh, I understand what jiu-jitsu is trying to teach me in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just keep coming up. So that's kind of how I've been trying to explain it to some of my students, and at Fluid, and some people that I've kind of mentored and try to help along their own journey. And it's a fantastic thing that we're a part of, man. I love tying my belt every single day in training. Well, I wouldn't want to do anything else. That's for sure.
Not at all. Not at all. Like, I'm at that point where, excuse me, like, yeah, I understand that completely, where, you have to understand jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu have to understand you. And it's definitely one of those things where you get out of it what you put in.
Yep.
Like, if you don't put the hard work in, you're not gonna see any growth or results. But you're busting your ass every day, even though it doesn't seem like you're getting better. You're always getting better.
Yeah.
Like,
no, for sure.
Like, the mats doesn't lie.
Right.
So
exactly.
It at all. They don't pull no punches. They do not lie. They do not sugarcoat. They will tell you exactly how it is.
Yep. And that's that's an old saying too, in the game that still rings true to this day.
Mm-hmm.
The mats definitely do not lie. And that was always my thing. When I was going through high school, and even in middle school, I started in 2013. So I was kind of the last of the old school era, which is what I kind of consider myself. But a lot of people are kind of like going through middle school. I was playing football and I was doing jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of the last time I did kind of conventional sports, was middle school. And I would have classmates and come up to me like, "Oh, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this jiu-jitsu thing? What? You're just grabbing up on each other. You guys don't understand." I always, unfortunately, was told, kids my age were like, "Oh, dude, that looks really gay."
Really gay, yeah.
Really gay. What is that? And until they're like, "Come on, let's see it. Let's see what jiu-jitsu is." And then I'd be like, "Oh, here we go." And show some jiu-jitsu. But my whole thing is like with conventional sports is like, football, basketball, um, soccer, baseball, whatever. Those are all conventional sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
90% of it is they're not really individual sports, right?
Right.
You have a team backing you. You have your coaches, you have your running back, you have your quarterback, you have the lineman, you have um, the baseman, you have all these people that you can pass the blame onto
Yeah.
if you didn't do your job, or if you didn't perform like you thought you were going to. You can be like, well, the quarterback didn't hand me the ball correctly. Pass it on to him. In jiu-jitsu, you bow onto those mats, you tie those mats, and you slap bump, and whether it's training or it's competition, your performance is your performance alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's where a lot of people kind of fizzle out when they kind of start, is because of this. It really beats on your ego.
Yeah, it definitely does. It definitely does.
You can have this 230-pound power lifter come in and then get tapped out by a 3-stripe purple belt female.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, well, what the hell? Why am I getting tapped out? Because we're taught that big man should win against that female.
In theory, yeah.
In theory, right?
Yeah.
But with jiu-jitsu, it shows, no, that female, she's gonna kick your ass, man.
Yeah.
And you need to be humble about it. I feel like that's what a lot of people, I think I've seen a lot of people fizzle out because of ego.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they turn blue belt. Because now they're like, well, I'm not a white belt anymore. I should know what I'm talking about.
Nah.
And you're like, no, you're just beginning.
You're just, as we call it, that varsity white belt.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
That's all it is. You're just that varsity white belt. But
I like that.
But yeah, it's so crazy to think about that. Like, because when me growing up, this is when UFC, mixed martial arts really started to take play.
Yep.
When Gracie fought, the first UFC, and just hearing the conversations of the, people that was before me that was like, obviously unfamiliar with it. And when mixed martial arts came, it was like, yeah, you got this sweaty, this guy on top of you and blah, blah, blah. But in theory, you are in, quote unquote, compromising positions.
Yep.
You're on top, you're straddled on top of someone. You're, someone's between your legs, someone's behind you. So all this stuff looks weird, or as you said, gay to some people,
right?
Because of it's like, what do we know? What two men want to get on and roll around on each other? Well,
right.
I do, but but now it's like it's starting to take a new form and take a new light because it's it's becoming so mainstream. But yeah, like you were saying, like people who didn't understand it or still don't understand it, they always look at it weird. It's like, man, how could you do that? How can you put so much time and effort into this? Like, I don't understand it. Well, that's your problem. Like,
right.
Like you don't you don't understand it. But just like you were saying earlier as well, it's one of those things where your actions speak louder than anything.
Right.
Like, you can't blame. I can't be I can't do a competition and be like, yeah, man, oh, what happened? Oh, man, I blah, blah, blah. I didn't show up to training these last couple weeks, so it threw me off. Like, wait, were you there? Well, yeah, I was on the mats. Okay. So yeah, like your actions and your grind time and your work definitely, it does matter, and that it does fall on you for sure.
Oh yeah,
it doesn't lie about that at all. So I assume earlier you were talking about MMA, correct? You were saying you competed, or was it a jiu-jitsu tournament?
So I've done both. I just competed, I think, last weekend, 2 weekends ago. I just competed at Grappling Industries.
Oh, okay, okay.
My pro debut was a jiu-jitsu tournament, or a jiu-jitsu fight, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've done MMA, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. So
okay. So how do you prepare yourself for competition?
So it all varies.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, competitions it all depends on what promotion. It all depends on tournament setting, like Grappling Industries is round robin, versus if you just do kickboxing fight, well, you're fighting one person, or MMA, you're fighting one person, or pro jiu-jitsu, normally you're fighting one person. It's not a bracket kind of setting. So to get ready for a bracket kind of setting, is different than trying to get ready for just one person. I found that my preparation for just facing one person is like for my pro fight. What I did was that's when I took Fluid Jiu-Jitsu, which is my home gym, which is where I do most of my training. And I took Primal MKE, and I took the two gyms and I took them together, and I married them together. So my fight camps are run through Fluid and Primal. So when I got ready for my pro debut, it was Monday and Wednesday, just straight hard jiu-jitsu. Then I would go to Fluid, finish out my training sessions of hard, good jiu-jitsu, good rolls. And leading up to the fight, what I would do, it was more of a mental thing than physical. Of course, you're on the mats and you're, getting ready for the wrestlers, and you're getting ready for, whoever you may be going up against. My pro debut, I went up against a Division I wrestler, and most of my fight camp was just defending takedowns, reversing them, getting my own takedowns, just staying calm in that kind of fire setting. So for me, getting ready for that it's more of a mental thing, knowing that, hey, this is going to be a war. I have to be okay with being in the trenches and being in this kind of thing of this going to suck, but I'm going to get through it, and I'm gonna fight to fight to win. So, leading up to right before I walked out for my fight, I took a page out of Master Hickson's book and elevated my heart rate before I went out there. So I elevated my heart rate, hit my adrenaline spike, and by the time I went out there, I was already fine. My adrenaline spike was good. My cardio was good. And he went out there like a bat out of hell and burned himself out in the first, round. So something like that, I can kind of plan a little bit better for. And I know what I'm facing. I know kind of things, and we have our strict kind of way of how we run that camp versus a bracket setting. I mean, you're facing multiple people. You could be facing them once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. It all depends. So I think it varies for me. The one in Grappling Industries, I rolled with a lot of purple belts to get ready for my first purple belt competition and kind of know what to expect. And that bracket setting is a little harder to get ready for. At least I've found so far, a little harder to get ready for, just because there are so many variables and there are so many competitors. But the mental aspect of it is the same thing. Just trying to stay calm and just know that this match is going to be tough, and all right, I can't get emotional, or I can't lose my game plan and play into their game plan. I have to play my jiu-jitsu and trust my jiu-jitsu. So there's a lot of variables when it comes to bracket setting kind of competition, but that's a fun of it, honestly, with everything, is trying to figure out how to run your fight camps depending on what kind of competition you're doing.
Right. And just kind of like just listen to what you're talking about, and just to touch on what you were saying earlier about, like, you have to be basically ready for jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu will make sure that you're ready for it.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, I've been kind of like playing around with the idea of competing.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, you know what? I'll think about it. I'll think about it. And the more and more, I did the podcast, the more and more I talked about it, the more and more I thought about it, and to the point where I ended up signing up for Grappler Industries. It's next month, and just like this whole different mind frame that I've gotten myself into, just to get ready for this fight. I got my fight camp. I just kind of put that together today. I'm looking up just whatever I can do to get myself ready for this tournament. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is what y'all do on the daily? like this is my second one. And I've talked to people who've done, 10 in like a year. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I guess it gets easier because you know who you can depend on to help you get ready for tournaments and get ready for competitions and stuff. But man, this is stressful.
So you said this is your second one?
Yes.
So, and honestly, it's, I know that it's a common saying in our community that says, mat time. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Mat time. And, so I've been competing this year since February 26th of this year. So I've been competing every single month to pretty much, with a month or two in between. I'm actually competing next Saturday, in my first submission only tournament. It'll be my last one of the year because it's the 17th. So, we're knocking into 2023. So,
right.
But the advice that I can give you is just, trust on those people and my MMA coach, Josh Janis, that trains here in Wisconsin. Shout out to White Lotus in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He told me, he goes, every feeling that you have, when it's in life or in jiu-jitsu or fighting or competing, everything that you feel, if you feel stressed, good. Let yourself feel stressed and let all those emotions that you're feeling run through your body and say, okay, this is okay. This is natural. This is part of what I do. This is part of what I love. And learn and accept it. Let all those be, little ding ding here, but be fluid with it. Let yourself kind of, there's been times where when I first came back to competing earlier this year, after that injury, because I was out for a year, and when I had first come back, there was times I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, all right, I'm nervous, but that's okay. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm scared. I'm stressed, or what,
a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Whatever that case may have been, or I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, that's okay. Let me feel that. And there's times that I even said it to myself, like, let me feel it more. Come on, give me more. Let me feel it. Because if you try to block out what those feelings are, the moment that you do is when you're doing anti-jiu-jitsu. You're doing, jiu-jitsu is not just submissions and positions and takedowns, and it's not just that. It's also the mental game of it. It's also what jiu-jitsu comes with, right? Jiu-jitsu is stressful. It's fun. It's exciting. It's painful. It's
relaxing. It's therapeutic. It's chaotic.
Yep.
It's a lot. It is a lot.
There's everything. And that's the other part of jiu-jitsu that I feel like not a lot of people either talk about or even know about, and that part is the best. That's the best part of it, and I try to look at it as right now, one of my big inspirations right now in the jiu-jitsu community is obviously Gordon Ryan. A lot of my game right now is how he rolls. And I try to look at it and say, I'm sure it's not as, he probably doesn't feel it on a deep, on a big level, But I'm sure he still feels stressed or he still feels nervous going into a competition. So if the greatest jiu-jitsu grappler in the world right now can feel even a smidge of nervousness, to me that tells me, okay, even the best in the world feel it. Nervousness and stress and excitement and frustration and anger and pain, all that stuff, that it doesn't care who you are, right? It's going to come and it's going to be there for you, and it's going to be like, I'm going to be right in your face, and you either accept it or you shy away from it, and you don't allow it to flow through you. I'll tell a story that when I first came back, so I did Fuji February 26th of this year, and it was my first competition back since I was choked out for that 24 seconds. And it was against the guy that put me out.
Okay.
And I have never felt so much, and at that time I was doing it for 8 years, and I've never felt so much fear and so much just what the hell is going on in my life. And my coach, Jason Bergman, who I trained with at Fluid, he pulls me aside, like I'm crying. Like I'm so scared, I'm crying. He pulls me aside and he goes, he's like, what's going on? And I was like, coach, I'm like, man, he's going to put me out again. Like, I'm scared, man. I just might pull out. Like, I don't think I can do this. And he looks at me and he goes, let me ask you something. He said, if this guy came up to you in a bar and tried to fight you, would you be scared? I said, no, coach. And he goes, exactly. He goes, go out there, do your job, play your jiu-jitsu, do the best that you can. And that's it. He goes, go win. I went out there and I beat him 14-0.
Nice.
And I won. And it was because not only of that pep talk, but it was because I'm like, okay, I know I'm scared. Allow me to feel that scare. Let me feel that being fearful. So that's the beauty of it, and that's with Matt time. I've been competing since I started in 2013. Only 3 months in, I was 3 months training, and I started competing.
Just jumped in the deep end.
And it wasn't even my idea. It was my professor at the time that was like, "Here you go. we're going to Kenosha or Madison or wherever it was." And he's like, "We're gonna get you in there." Like, all right, sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's what it is for me right now. With this only for one being my second competition, two, I am going in with a completely different mind frame than I did the first time. The first one was just kind of like, oh, I just want to do it for the experience. Me and my training partner was talking about it for a while, so it's like, hell, what the hell, let's just give it a shot. But this time, it's like, for one, brown belt. Two, it's I wanted to personally get down to a more comfortable weight before I start competing again, which I'm kind of teetering in there, but I'll be fine by time November. Excuse me, by January hits. But yeah, I think it's just with that and just thinking about like my future in jiu-jitsu, how I'll be eventually opening up my own academy, and just wanting to do as much as do as much jiu-jitsu as I can. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to do both of those things, I need to take both of those serious.
Right.
So like, okay, if I'm going to do this competition, I need to bust my hump and train like I want to do this competition. Like I can't just look at it as a hobby anymore. Like I'm starting to try to like turn this into like a full-time thing. So it needs to be treated as such.
Yep, absolutely.
And I think with me seeing that now, a lot of it is starting to like click and make sense. Like, okay, now I see I see what's going on here now. So, just the amount of time I've been putting in on the mats these last couple months, and like going to the gym and mentally preparing myself for everything, and just trying to like incorporate jiu-jitsu in like 99% of my life, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy to like how, just to think this, just the thought of like how much time and effort is being put in all this. It's like I'm just like, yeah, it's go.
Yep.
Like it's jiu-jitsu, go.
Yeah, and a big thing I can say is because I'm in the same boat right now. I'm since, like I had said kind of earlier, since I made my pro debut, it's just been go, which is fantastic. And something that I was reminded was to stop and smell the roses a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing too, with competing and with with just building your career and coaching and trying to open up your own academy and all that. Like, just stop and smell the roses and be like, hey, be appreciative of where you came from. And that's something that I've been doing a lot lately. It's just like, oh, I was here a year ago, and now I'm here. So now can you only imagine where I'm going to be in a year from here or 5 years from here?
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely. And this is my third podcast that I've been on, so it's it's fantastic. I love it. I love getting my name out there and talking about jiu-jitsu and trying to spread the love of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
That's ultimately my mission, is to spread the love of jiu-jitsu.
Yep. And this, and like you're saying, like, I have to stop and smell the roses. This is my rose. Like,
yeah.
It was like a random idea that I was, sit down talking to my wife about. And it was just like, I want to do a podcast. I want to do something different, but still jiu-jitsu relatable. So I decided to do this and do it on this format. And just the thought of how many people I've talked to so far. Like, I've done over like close to 40 interviews so far.
That's awesome.
I got like 16, like out of the 40, like 16 episodes are, well, by the time of this recording, it's like 16 episodes like that's uploaded. And just, going back and listening to the episodes when I edit them, it's like, man, this is so awesome.
Yep.
Like, I'm not saying this because it's mine, but it's just like, just to sit down and hear other people's jiu-jitsu stories and hear the excitement it gives them, and just you can hear the passion in their voices when they talk about it. It's like, man, this is so fun. I love this. I love this so much. Like, I love doing this so much, man. Yeah,
and that's the beauty of it. That's awesome to hear, man. And I it's cool watching. We're friends on Facebook, and it's cool watching your journey, and I'm rooting for you, man. So it's very cool to be a part of this journey of yours, and be a part of your podcast. It's fantastic,
man. And I like, like I said, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate everybody who's done an episode thus far, because I was like, I know I like talking about jiu-jitsu, and I can have an idea that people who does jiu-jitsu like to talk about jiu-jitsu. So I was like, well, let's just do that. And just to like the scale and the range of people that I've talked to like a few white belts, a few fourth and third degree black belts.
Yep. And
it's just everyone has that same reaction, like, oh yeah, a podcast about jiu-jitsu? Hell yeah, I want to be on it. And it's like, oh, what do I do? There's like, well, when do we start? And it's like, okay, well, let's go. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's I don't know anybody who, as we call it over in Wisconsin, we call it we get the jiu-jitsu bug, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know it the moment that white belt gets it.
Oh yeah,
you see it in their eyes, and they're like, oh, like it's either like they're training, or they're rolling, or they're practicing a position or a submission. They're like, oh, there it is. You see it in their eyes. You see it light up, and you're like, you got the bug. You got it. You love it now.
Yeah.
I'll see you for 5 days in a row now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, it's fantastic. I was one of the things that it was incredible. It was an incredible sight. Master Pedro Sauer was in town um, on the 17th of November, 17th and 18th of November, and I was there at both days, and looking at the mat and looking at everybody on it, all their faces, everybody was smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was. It was such a cool sight looking at it and just watching everybody light up at a simple hip out or a simple shrimp out that Master Sauer showed, and everybody just lights up
Mm-hmm.
and smiles. And um, yeah, it was very cool looking around and be like, this is the part of the community, and this is part of my life, not even my life, that I do, and it's fantastic. I wouldn't change a thing.
Right, right. And being an instructor, well, an assistant instructor, and I didn't realize I love those moments until like a friend of mine's kind of pointed it out. We were talking about
Yeah.
it, so she was like, "Oh, you like the praise aspect of stuff," and I'm like, "What are you?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She said the fact that with your jujitsu, you talk about it a lot. I can hear you smiling over the phone when you talk about it, and then when you tell me people's reaction to it in your class, your voice changes. So like you like that whole praise aspect of it, and I was like, I guess. But I just like the idea of like what I'm doing is helping somebody.
Yeah.
It's not even. I mean, no. I guess you want to say if that is the praise side of it, like the praise aspect of it. But I like the teaching aspect of it. I like to see the people's face light up when they're like, "Oh snap! I didn't see that there. Oh, that's crazy!" And blah blah blah.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, that's it. That's what I like to see. There it is.
And honestly, brother, I'm the same way, man. I've been coaching for as long as I've been training, assistant coaching for as long as I've been training with my students, and I filled in for a couple of adult classes, and it is such a awesome feeling and awesome just experience to show something, and then your students are like, "Oh, that's really cool,"
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, to know that you help them in their journey and help them um, add to the love of the sport and of the game that you love. It's all about giving back to the sport. Um, and for me, I 4 years ago, my mentor, Big Mike Hernandez, or Mike Hernandez, is he is also known. He passed away while training.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And yeah, it was tough, man. And I he was like a big brother to me. We started at the same time, like we climbed the ranks together. Like, um, he and I were really really close. And when he died, I just found out some things that he was telling other people. Like they're like, oh, he was telling um, other practitioners that I was going to be an inspiration to young men and women of the fight game and of jiu-jitsu. And he's like, this kid's going to go places. And this was things where he was like my big brother. We messed around and we talked like brothers, and
Mm-hmm.
so we never really had moments like that where it was kind of heart to heart. We had heart to heart conversations a different way, by him beating on me and tapping me out. And
Yeah, I know, right?
So when he passed away, I really took his legacy, and I really took everything that he was teaching, and I've been running with it ever since. And on my blue belt, I had a custom blue belt, and on my blue belt it said Big Mike Forever, heavy on the mats, heavy on our hearts, and his birth date and death date. So it was a memorial belt, and that was the belt that I competed with, that I was striped up on. And then when I got my purple belt, it was such a cool moment because my professor, Brenton Fitzgerald, when he gave me my purple, gave me my new custom belt for Big Mike.
Oh, that's awesome.
Same everything, same saying everything, but promoted me with that one.
That's amazing.
Which was fantastic. It was such a special moment. A lot of old training partners came out, old professors, old coaches came out for me, and it was such a cool moment. Um, but that's kind of been my whole point, is that he was able to spread the love of jiu-jitsu. He went to so many open mats, like everybody knew him. His funeral was, the line was out the door. I mean, I really saw what his legacy was all about. And I knew it when I was living with it. And I knew when I was training alongside him every single day. I knew what his legacy was like.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually have a mission in jiu-jitsu is that to go to all the open mats in the state of Wisconsin. And I've hit 10 so far.
Nice.
So, it's that's what it's about, man. It's about giving back and spreading the love of jiu-jitsu, and having that opportunity to give back and be able to say, hey, this person or this professor or this move did something for me. Let me give this back to you. Let me show you this kind of way. Let me turn your head this way, and then changes your life, or just giving back to the sport that's given me so much.
Exactly.
That's the beauty of it, and that's something that nothing could ever replace that feeling when I do it every single day.
Yeah. And since we're going down this mushy road right now, but so roughly around the time, like halfway through purple belt, man, it was extremely dark for me. Just in life and just everything that came with it. But that was also around the time where it's like I was training a lot harder, I was training a lot more, and everything else, and like the brotherhood that I've have established with my instructor and a couple other guys at the school, it turned to something like more greater than I can ever imagine. Yep. Like I can truly honestly say I love these guys. We bring the best out of each other, and there's nothing we won't do for each other on and off the mats. And so like I was talking to Brian, one of the guys I was referring to. So next year he'll be testing for his black belt.
That's awesome.
Right, it's crazy because like when I started jiu-jitsu, I think he was a 1 or 2 stripe blue belt.
That's crazy.
And to think that next year he'll be a black belt. I just became a brown belt, and then the year after I'll be testing for my black belt, and it's just like, wow, dude, what the hell,
Yeah.
So but yeah, so we've been teaching a lot more too. Holding classes, we've been doing open mats. I've been doing kids class for like the last 3-4 years. I teach some adult classes, but I know for a fact that once my instructor promote him to black, we're going to be doing a lot more teaching.
Right.
And he's like, he wants to do more on the competition side of jiu-jitsu, getting like a fight camp, a fight class and everything else. And I'm sitting here looking like, well, who am I not to help you?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, you're my coach now. But yeah, man, it's him. It's my brother Brian, my brother Zachary, my brother Coleman, my brother Adam. Those are just a few of the guys that I stick to a lot. But especially with Brian and Zach are the main two that been like on my ass about training. If I'm not there, I'm getting phone calls. If I'm on the mats, I'm being pushed I'm being pushed to my end. And like today, we had open mat, but only a few people showed up. So he was like, well, since we're here, we can start, getting you ready for competition. So this is like kind of one of like the hardest class I've had in a long time. But it's like, man, I love it because of who I'm doing this stuff with,
Right.
So I definitely have a strong team behind me when it comes to this, like comes to competing now. and it's like I feel like I have to get better for him, and vice versa, because he wants to do this as a, he wants to be a coach, and he want to get people out there, and I'm like, okay, who am I to say no?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
because it was so crazy, because the tournament my first tournament that I did, tap out cancer, was the first one that he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But life happens and he wasn't able to. But I was like, you know what? I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it because we talked about it. So he was my corner during that tournament, and now I guess you can say he's my fight coach now. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man, I love it, man. I love it so much.
And that's the beauty of all this is jiu-jitsu creates a lot, and a brotherhood and a sisterhood. That's definitely what it creates, and it's fantastic to see, people from all walks of life get together and become like family, and that's the awesome thing about it. And when I started in 2013, there was 5 of us that all started together. And to my knowledge right now, there's only 2 of us that are still left that are training. And which life happens in jiu-jitsu and family, and it happens.
Yeah.
But those bonds that we have, and those bonds that were created through jiu-jitsu, no matter how long we don't talk to each other or we do our own thing, there's still that bond, and there's still that love and that caring and that respect between all 5 of us. So that's one of the beautiful things about jiu-jitsu, for sure.
Definitely, because it's I guess it's, to me, like, jiu-jitsu definitely do leave you in a vulnerable state, because you put so much time and effort and heart into it. You're showing up to the mats like every 2-3 days out of the week. You're carrying the stress of life and work all around you, and like, I'm about to go out and just pour my heart out on these mats, and to know like the guy who's right next to you is doing the same damn thing.
Yep.
So it's like,
yeah. Yeah, that's, and it brings that sense of calm, the calmness to you, knowing that person alongside you, he or she is putting that blood and sweat and tears on the mats alongside with you, and you both are getting better as you do it. So that's the cool thing too, about it.
Especially when they they're like, they want to train 24/7 just like you do.
Yep.
Because last night we went to go see the UFC pay-per-view. And I kind of forgot about it, so I texted Brian. I was like, "Hey man, did you want to get some extra work in Saturday or whatever?" And he was like, "Well, I would, but I said I got this to do, I got that to do, and then but we got the pay-per-view after everything." So I was like, yeah, that's true. I was like, we could just go after, like, just straight after the fights, we can just go to the gym. He's like, yeah, you got a point. so yeah, man, just to be able to like know that I can call these guys and like, hey, I'm on the mats, man. Where y'all at? It's like, all right, give me about 30 minutes. I'll be there.
Yep. and that's so cool. Like that's the bond that I'm talking about. Like that was the bond that Big Mike and I always had. That if I didn't show up, or if I was sick or whatever, just a random day, he'd be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Shit, nothing.
Right.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm gonna come pick you up. All right, perfect. We're gonna go to jiu-jitsu. Where? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out when we get there.
Yep. He'd be like, he introduced me to sushi, and he goes, we're gonna figure out when we get there. All right, perfect. He goes, sushi after? Absolutely. Hell yeah, I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So, that's the awesome thing about it, and I love jiu-jitsu, man. I love the community that we have, and I mean, shit. It brought we're two different time zones, and we're it brings us together.
Yeah.
Brown belt, purple belt, like that's the awesome part of it. We've never met in person, but at the end of the day, we share this brotherhood, we share this bond, we share this friendship because of jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. I honestly, I'll stand on this. I don't know any other sport that can do that for anybody.
I have not seen it either. I have not seen it. And
Mhm.
yeah, man, because just for example, yeah, this common love for jiu-jitsu, right? I've talked to people in Spain. I've talked to people in Australia, British Columbia, just all over the world. And, just people be like, just taking out their time, taking the time out their day to sit down and talk to a complete stranger.
Yep.
And, now we're all friends on Facebook. Like every time I interview somebody, like, yeah, man, I'll hit you up on Facebook and we'll keep in contact. I'm, steady talking to all these people that I would never have met doing anything else.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, man. It's so amazing.
It's very, very cool.
Very, very, very cool.
But yeah, man. So I think so the big plan right now, I'm gonna put this out in the universe to come back for me. But next year, actually, less than a month. I'm gonna apply to ADCC Open Trials, IBJJF, EBI. I don't know anybody in the sport that doesn't know EBI, but if you guys don't know EBI, it's Eddie Bravo Invitational. It's another pro promotion, so from Eddie Bravo. So I would love to get on that show, kind of take what I can get and go from there. I'm on the 17th. I'm competing at Checkmate. It's called here in Wisconsin. Submission only. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to face some tough guys. I know two guys that I'm competing against. So good guys, good tough school. So it's gonna be a fun way to close out the year. Last kind of competition before January, and then pick it back up in January and February, and rinse and repeat, my friend. So
yeah. And because I was literally about to ask you, like, what you got stored for the future, but you already beat me to it. But
you got me excited, man. I'm talking about jiu-jitsu, my plans now.
I know, right, man? That's what this is for, man. But yeah, I do plan on competing. I set myself a goal for at least three tournaments this in 2023. More likely they're going to be a lot more. But yeah, man, I would absolutely love to have you back, later down the line after your invitationals and tournaments and stuff, man, to just to update everybody, man, and see how that went. But I'm definitely, changing the format of the shows a little bit coming up soon. I mean, because it'll probably be happening by the time this episode comes out, so I can kind of like talk about it. It doesn't matter. So you kind of like one of the first few people to know. But I love doing the interviews. I love sitting down to one-on-one conversations with everybody. But just trying to switch it up a little bit. Still going to be doing this, but I'm gonna start doing more episodes. It's kind of like more of a table talk.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be me, my training partner Brian, for sure. But if we can get 2 or 3 other people on, and we could just shoot the shit for an hour or so about just jiu-jitsu to kind of just kind of break it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a lot of big plans next year, and for the podcast, for myself and jiu-jitsu in general, man. So I'm definitely excited to hear your story, and I'm very excited to get mine started, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm excited to follow your journey, and if you have we're friends on Facebook, so if you have any questions, whether jiu-jitsu or anything like that, man, shoot me a message, and I love to talk shop, and that goes for anybody who's going to be listening to this, and I'm a very open person. Feel free to just shoot me messages and ask me questions, and I just love talking about jiu-jitsu and talking about a sport that we all love, man. So
definitely.
But yeah, the main plan is ADCC Open Trials, and I talked to some of my teammates about it. And they're like, "Man, you're ADCC, huh?" And I'm like, "Yep."
Yep.
They're like, "How do you feel about that?" I'm like, "You know what? I'm excited. Like that intrigues me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put me in wherever the hell ADCC is going to hold their next one. Put me in their California, or I'm guessing it's probably going to be Cali. For the open trials, and what's the worst that could happen? I don't win open trials. Okay, next year.
That's it. That's how you got to look at it, man.
Next year.
Next
All
year.
Right, cool. Now I know. Now I have experience.
Mm-hmm.
I know IBJJF Pans is going to come. I believe it's in April. That's in Orlando. I know some of my teammates and I are probably going to go down to Orlando and test our skill there. It'll be my first IBJJF, so I'm excited for that. I know EBI and ADCC. I just have to figure out where I can apply for it, because I don't know necessarily where the link is to apply to open trials. So, that's all about figuring out and playing it by ear. But I'm putting it out in the universe. The universe is going to come back to me with an answer. So, I'll come figure it out and just keep training, keep grinding, and try to spread the love of jiu-jitsu, man. And I appreciate you giving me that opportunity to spread jiu-jitsu and spread the love of jiu-jitsu through my voice and through this podcast. So it's fantastic, dude.
Man, like I said, the pleasure is all mine, man. And we're definitely in that same boat, man, paddling that same direction. So we both want that same thing, we want to do jiu-jitsu a lot more. We want to get our names out there. We want big things to happen for us in jiu-jitsu. So yeah, man, we're definitely going to keep in touch, and we're definitely going to make some noise. We're definitely going to make some noise in jiu-jitsu, man. It's just a matter of time before it happens.
Yep, absolutely, man. And I'm rooting for you, man. So like I said, if you need anything, you want to talk shop, just message me, man. And like I said, that goes for anybody who's going to listen to this podcast.
Likewise. I'm definitely an open book. I definitely love talking to people about jiu-jitsu. So yeah. But that's the end of today's episode. I would like to thank my guest Nicolas one more time for coming on and sharing his experience and tell with us. I hope you guys took something from it. Please go follow our Facebook and Instagram pages to stay up to date on all future episodes. This has been Talk Your Jits podcast. Keep rolling, keep grinding, and remember, long live jiu-jitsu. Have a great day.